What up, everybody? You're now tuned into the true definition of a sports fanatic. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley, back today with another live stream. Another weekend of football in the books. We're getting closer to the Super Bowl. The season is wrapping up. And I must say that was a very unsatisfying championship round, AFC, NFC championship games, because, San Francisco literally could not throw a forward pass. I looked like I was looking at 1930s football. Could not throw a pass in that game. Absolutely ridiculous. But, it is what it is. Injuries happen. I didn't even know the NFL had the rule about only having two active quarterbacks. Like, how stupid is that? They have to change that rule now. I don't even know why they enacted. Why they even changed it? They said it changed like 2014 or something like that. So now you have to change that rule back again. So, and then Cincinnati and Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes asserted himself once again. He's the greatest quarterback in this game. There was debate between him and Joe Burrow, which really isn't a debate. I just felt like Cincinnati had the superior team. Joe Burrow had the superior team. Patrick is the superior player. There's no debate about that at all. Questionable calls though. Horrible refereeing officials were. I just hate, and I don't want to blame them and say they, determine the outcome of the game, because let's be for real, that was clearly hit out of bounds. Clearly, whether offside meant to do it or not, it was clearly out of bounds. But it is what it is. But I got my co-host with me once again, Mr. Reed, in the building. How are you doing today, sir?
Well, doing good, man. Doing good. All season going on for the NFL. Well, for the Jaguars, not for the NFL.
Yeah.
I think we watched pretty good games on Sunday with these championships in the NFC and the AFC. I think the teams who supposed to have won, I think they won. And I think we're probably going to see a pretty good Super Bowl game between the Chiefs and the Eagles. So,
no doubt.
You got to commend a guy like Andy Reid, man. Andy Reid just seems like a guy loves his hamburgers. One hell of a coach, great play caller, get the most of his players. And, he's facing a franchise that he coached for 14 years with the Eagles. So I'm sure that's going to be one of the top storylines of the Super Bowl. But I'm happy for a guy like Andy Reid. They used to say Andy Reid was in Philly. He could never win the big one.
Yeah.
Great coach, but couldn't take the franchise to the next step. And, he got a Super Bowl championship with the Chiefs. But, man, he just seems like somebody like an uncle. Something like I heard something on the radio. They were saying, well, you think if he wins the Super Bowl that he's going to buy out and quit and, retire? And I think the guy said on the radio show that, man, you don't retire with a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes.
No, you don't.
You don't leave him for somebody else to get on that gravy train with. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a good Super Bowl matchup, and I like the way this Eagles team play, man. They look like they've been solid the whole year, including the playoffs.
Yeah, they played very well. I was thoroughly I would say fairly impressed with what I saw. I didn't think that they would dominate like the way they did, but they dominated. They played very well. I think Jalen, the one I'm most happy for on the Eagles side, though, because they just won a title a few years back, and then even the Chiefs won a title a few years back. But I am rooting for Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is a great young man who comes from a great home, great father, which the spotlight should be more on that as well. The relationship he has with his father, being a coach's kid, it's not talked about enough. But I mean, watching him at Alabama and him go from being a starting quarterback and losing a title to Deshaun Watson when he was at Clemson, then coming back and losing your position to Tua Tagovailoa in the championship game and the next season that followed subsequently, then to come back in the SEC championship game when Tua got hurt and lead them to victory. go to Oklahoma, worked on his passing through this whole time when he lost his job, when Jalen Hurts lost his job, he worked on his passing and he improved every single year. And he's been improving every single year from his first year in the league at 52% completion to this year. I think he's like at 64 or something like that. The kid is improving.
Yeah, he's low key. He don't seem to be the quarterback. Okay, put all the cameras on me. He seems to be a team first guy, and he knows that he can beat you with his legs, and he can now beat you with his arms. And he got great receivers, man. I don't care what anybody says. That one-handed catch, man, that was the thing of beauty. Now I know they're saying, "Oh yeah, he didn't have possession when he hit the ground," but man, hey, great catch. I like that defensive front. And I agree with everything you said about Jalen Hurts, man. He's a guy. He took it on the chin, man, when he was at Alabama. Imagine being the Alabama starting quarterback. Freshman come in, take your job. He dusted himself off. And he transferred to Oakland. That ain't said a lot, but here's an Alabama quarterback, transferred to Oklahoma, had a great, he did great things, worked on what he needed to work on, become a ultimate, great professional quarterback with the Eagles. And you never heard a negative thing out of his voice. That takes a lot in this day and age. He didn't say this, "Oh, they gave up on me too soon. Alabama don't came back, went to Oklahoma, started there." And, this is the guy who basically, Minshew thought he could go to Philadelphia and beat him out. Minshew is not a quarterback that accepts being a backup, which is why he didn't make it here. So I think Jalen Hurts, man, is proving a lot of naysayers wrong. Yeah. Some who criticize him for not being this strong arm quarterback. They were talking about his arm strength, all the negatives. And this kid just came out. Okay, I'll show you. I'll prove it to you. I'll prove it on the field. Don't have to talk. No talking. Action speaks louder than words. And look what he's done. They've been consistent the whole year. they ain't had no peaks. And they've been on one steady stream the whole year. And you got to commend them for that, man. And then as we said before the show came on, they beat a San Francisco team who couldn't throw the pass down the field 10 yards.
Yeah. So, and I'm willing to bet that even Jalen Hurts had to prove naysayers wrong, even definitely amongst his own fans, because the Philly fans were even talking about Jalen, but probably people in the building as well. Remember he was a second-round pick. I want him here in Jacksonville.
Yeah,
I was highly upset when the Eagles drafted him in the second round. I was like, he should be here in Jacksonville. Jacksonville should have took a chance on him. But, that's neither here nor there. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure even then he had to prove, to those people, of course, the people in the building. But, hey, he stuck it out and he's played a heck of a season. I mean, this is very, very tough, very close to call, because I think Philly overall is probably the more balanced team, no question. Yes. Offensively and defensively, I think that they can get it done on both sides of the ball at a high level. I think the Chiefs can get it done on the offensive side of the ball at a very high level. Defensively, they have their moments, but they can be had. And Philly's offensive line Kelsey is insane.
Yeah,
like he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's no question about it. And of course, the other Kelsey on the other side for Kansas City is great too, first ballot Hall of Famer as well. But that Kelsey, and then what's that? Lane Johnson. That Eagles offensive line makes it all go.
Yeah, they're big and physical, and then they take advantage of the ground game. I mean, they're smack you in the mouth, run the running backs, throw to the receivers, sack your quarterback, play physical, dominate the game. And but I think it'll be a good game between these two franchises. I mean, you can't discount what Chris Jones did in that game Sunday, man. and their defensive front, the Kansas City defensive front. So, but
yeah.
I always say I think Philadelphia has the most physical, talented offensive line in the league, and I think they've been that way for at least the last 2 years, 2 seasons or 3 seasons, that they get after you. Those guys block downfield, and I've seen them play against the Cowboys, and man, they neutralize you. They put pads on you, and they keep hammering at you till you surrender. So
yeah.
And I think you really always. I know a lot of people's talking about Buffalo and things, but I think they got it right. I think these two teams, I feel they the two top teams in each conference. I think they got it right. There's no Cinderella. It's I know Kansas City. People was expecting either Kansas City or Buffalo in the Super Bowl. Buffalo didn't make it. Cincinnati, I like Cincinnati. I just think Cincinnati got to do a little bit more work on the offensive line. They just gave up too many sacks and just didn't get an early rhythm. But I like their potential. But I think these are the two best teams. I don't know what happened to Buffalo down the stretch, but I think there's no surprise that Kansas City is in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. No surprise at all. But Buffalo, I got to be honest with you, man. I was never quite fully bought in on Josh Allen being that top guy. Good player, great player. Was going to get his team to the playoffs, win double-digit games, have MVP like numbers. He can do that. He can run the football too as well. It's funny how they praise him for running the football and criticize others, but we're not going to go down that path today. But when it matters most in crunch times, in certain situations, you can see him fold from time to time. Now, there have been times where, like in the championship game the previous year against Kansas City couldn't do anything to stop him. The only reason they won is because they had the ball last. They had the opportunity last. That's the only reason. He had another opportunity. He was going to match whatever they put on the board. But against Cincinnati, I knew Cincinnati was the better team, but I didn't think that they were that much better. I kind of think that they laid down a little bit, especially him. Whether he didn't do it physically, but mentally, I think he laid down. Because we've never seen Stephon Diggs do what he did. He's never done that. He's never had to do that because obviously he's seen it in Josh Allen. Because when he was doing that to him and they showed his eyes, I was like, he doesn't have it, man. He's checked out. He's at that state. His body's at that stadium, but mentally he's somewhere else.
He had problems this year in the red zone. He threw a lot of picks in the red zone, and I just think that sometimes quarterbacks are enamored with their arm strength. And I think sometimes Josh Allen just feels that he can throw it on the dime, and he can. But sometimes I think he just take too many risks. You don't need to take risks. If the guy double covered in the end zone, I don't care how accurate you are, the chances increase to get the ball knocked down or intercepted if you're trying to do the miraculous and get that pass in there with double coverage on your receivers. But I think a lot of pressure gonna be on Buffalo next year and their head coach, man. I think.
Yeah.
Sad as it is, Buffalo always. I remember back in the 90s, they make it to the Super Bowl. They can't. Can't win the big game, and now they can't get to the big game, and they, you go 13-3 or whatever their record was during the regular season, man. It doesn't mean nothing if you can't get to the Super Bowl. So I think the clock is ticking on their head coach, and I think a little bit of I wouldn't say overrated, but I just think there's an over attention, I think, on some of the things Buffalo does that people automatically think that, okay, they on the short stick to get it to the, the odds favorite or whatever you want to call it to get to the Super Bowl. So I think people people got to let the games play out before they start making these predictions of who the best team and they dominating. Doesn't matter if you dominate in October and not playing in February or January. So,
yeah,
my 2 cents.
Yeah. Well, hey, and just what you said about Buffalo, I was gonna say the same thing about who lost in the NFC Championship game, and that's San Francisco 49ers. You know, as great as they've been, that seat has to be at least lukewarm for Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch right now. Because I understand you lost your quarterbacks. Hey, don't care. This is a results-based business. Me personally, I think the fact that they did not get quarterback right has cost them at least one title in the last 5 seasons.
I agree with that. And that's the problem I feel with San Francisco. Will they ever get it right? You know, what is the plan? I mean, where do you go forward? You know, they got a decision to make. Do you go with Lance or do you go with Purdy? Do you trade Garoppolo? I mean, what do you do? You know, because I think that's been one of the inconsistent things about their entire franchise, that they want to do the easy decision when it comes to quarterback. But then again, you know, you look at whether it's bad luck or what, the injuries or whatever, but you got to make a decision at quarterback, man. You can't thread that needle and be indecisive. To be honest, I think that, you know, if you're gonna keep Lance, what do you do with Garoppolo? I mean, what do you do? You got to make a decision. You got to trade him. Now the rumor has it that, you know, oh yeah, this would be an ideal situation for Tom Brady to go to San Francisco because they got all the pieces in place. And then again, you got an indecisive.
I was gonna suggest Brady. You have to at least talk to him. You have to at least have a conversation with Brady. If you're serious about winning the title, Brady's interested in coming. You have to have a sit down at the very least.
Yeah. And then Brady can help those young quarterbacks, because I think I still think they got to make a decision. Either you're going to keep Lance or you're going to keep, Purdy. Somebody got to – I don't think you need both of those guys with your franchise. If at some point you got to make a decision.
No, you have to. You're absolutely right. You got to make a decision.
So, and I think that's the only thing. Lance? Yeah. And I said going into the game, I said, you know, you look at the teams, you look at Philly, you look at San Francisco. They obviously were the 2 best teams in the NFC this year. But the one difference maker was quarterback. You know, that was it. You know, here's a guy basically starting because of injury, Purdy. What happens when the rush get on him? You know, what happens? Do they take, they were going to send everybody at him because he's young. And then he get hurt. And then, man, I don't even know the name of the backup who had the concussion. So San Francisco got to get that. They got to address that quarterback, man. You're not going to make it to the Super Bowl. You can beat the Cowboys. You can be one of the best teams in your division. And then what does that mean, though, in the overall scheme of things? You still got a problem at quarterback, whether it's injuries, whether it's the backups, whatever going on. They have to address the quarterback situation if they're going to go further than what they've been. No question.
Yeah. No question at all. And so now, what is your prediction for the Super Bowl?
Man, you come right at me without any build up anything, huh?
We done talked about the Chiefs. We done talked about Philly. We talked about San Francisco. We talked about Cincinnati.
It's hard to pick against Philly, man, because have they really been challenging the playoffs? They beat the Giants, no problem.
No problem.
They played a San Francisco team that really didn't have once the quarterback Purdy got hurt, they really didn't have a quarterback. They're talking about using putting McCaffrey, Wildcat or whatever that. I know that wasn't going to work. So I like the way they play on both sides of the ball. I think their receivers I say this, and some people might disagree. I think the Philadelphia receivers is better than the receiving corps for the Chiefs.
Absolutely, no question.
I think I have to give Mahomes the edge at quarterback. Both defensive fronts are dominant. Chiefs has got a great defensive front. So does so do the Philadelphia Eagles. But when I look at it, I think the Eagles is a better overall football team. They could play any style. They could get the ball down the field on passing. They physical enough with that offensive line that they can play smash mouth, take advantage of the run. And I feel those advantages is I would pick Philly. I think it tough to pick the score, but I think it might be one of them nail biters. I mean, it might be 20. I would say 21-17 is the score, and I think Philly going all the way. And I also, man, I say this, boy, I think they're gonna be tough to beat next year.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think Philly's going to be good for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
I think they built something that's sustainable. They still got some guys who are aging, but they've been able to replace guys and build this team, especially this current group. So I think Philly is the superior team.
Mm-hmm.
Should I give them an edge everywhere except for quarterback because they got the better receiving core, wide receivers on tight ends combined because it's just Kelsey and a bunch of guys over there. Just call it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Versus you got 3 legit weapons, 2 receivers and a tight end in Philly. Their offensive line is superior. No question about that. They probably got the best offensive line in the league. Defensive line is comparable. I'll probably get out a push, but I give the Eagles an edge because they have more. You have Chris Jones, you got a good little bit of guys, but man, you got Hassan Reddick, you got Fletcher, you got Ndamukong Suh. Like that defensive line, you got Jordan Davis. Like you got a bunch of guys. And I think they had 4 or 5 guys that had double-digit sacks.
Mm-hmm.
Some crazy number, a bunch of guys with double-digit sacks. Linebacking core, I would say it's about even. I may give the edge to the Chiefs, but the back end, no question, is Philadelphia. The DBs, those DBs for Kansas City can be had. In there because they're young guys. But with all that said,
dun. Drum roll.
My homie, Jakari, what it is? He say Chiefs getting them Patriot-esque calls. You think so? Patriot-esque calls? I don't know if they're on that level yet, Jakari. The Patriots used to get some calls, man. Like they got some calls. I don't know if they getting them calls, but I understand you're on the right track, Jakari. Because the refs were terrible. But I just think Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes figures out how to get it done. 2 more weeks off that ankle, which did. Hey, I was very surprised at how well he moved around. And I'm looking at his numbers, dude. They said his last 5 seasons, when his numbers in the playoffs, and they ranked him. I think they had his all-time playoff numbers as far as a passer is concerned. He was like number 1 in every category. Number 1. He's only 5 years in. Number 1. He's number 1, and I think it was passing yards per game, touchdowns per game, passer rating, and completion percentage. Number 1 in all categories. Mahomes is that dude. This is his era. I think this is his time. I think he's been waiting to get back. Losing to Cincinnati probably had him sick. He seemed like one of those dudes where he probably lost weight because he wasn't eating or sleeping. He watching film and had a damn caveman beard. All he did probably eat, work out, and watch film. But I think that they get back to being champions. I think Andy Reid gets him another one. And then Jakar say to my shit, Trevor, like he was doing the Vic post arrest against the Chiefs. No roughing the passer calls. Oh, well, yeah, he didn't get it. Shoot, it was one where the Chiefs didn't get called when they hit Joe Mixon way out of bounds. I'm talking about. I mean, Joe Mixon was out of bounds, and they hit him, and there was no roughing call. Well, not necessarily roughing passes, but personal foul call on that.
Yeah, I remember that. But...
Yes, yeah, I thought Joe wasn't getting up. He got hit hard.
Yeah.
But I think I think Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes finds a way to get it done against this Philly defense. Patrick is going to have to be on the move because this Philly defensive front. I know Trevor was just seeing them in his sleep because they were all over him in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I can't think of the guy off the edge, but boy, they got
Reddick.
What's his name?
Hassan Reddick.
Yeah, Reddick.
Yeah, number 7. Whew.
Number 7. Yeah.
That I watched him fly around the corner. They say they like a bat out of hell. That's what he looked like.
Yeah. Yeah, he knows how to get to. He's pretty good, man. I'll leave it at that because some of his plays look like, boy, did somebody think of to block him? Because he got on that quarterback real quick. Looked like they were trying to chip him. But I mean, he's like a better Yannick.
Yeah, because I seen
more polished.
Yeah, I seen the graphic. When he's pretty much the number 1 rated player in the entire playoffs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
and there's like, don't put a tight end in front of him. It's gonna be good night.
Yeah, he's quick. Can get around that edge real quick. And he make good, he makes sure tackles. They said something on the broadcast that just rains a lot to me about the Jaguars need to think about on their edge rushes. I don't know if they were talking, I think they were talking about Boza, but they were saying like, he has the awareness to read the play and not just rush in on the quarterback. So if they come around the edge or something with either the quarterback or he's looking to see if they hand the ball off, he's always in position he don't over pursue to get to the quarterback because he's still reading off the block. And that's what they need to teach the guys here, man. It's good to get the pressure, but it also, hey man, you still got to play containment too. And that's where the Walkers and I even feel Josh Allen sometimes that, you over pursue and then you reading into their offensive play. Well, okay, he's going to come in and then we got all this outside room. And I just think sometimes, man, you need to stay at home. A quarterback will come your way.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, we'll go with that's our next topic anyway. We're talking about the Jags offseason moves. Mm-hmm. Not only that, but what do you say? Trayvon need to go stay with Dwight Freeney over the offseason. Oh yeah, Trayvon Walker. Yeah, Trayvon has to get in the weight room, get bigger, faster, stronger, and get some moves.
Yeah,
I think this was a learning year for him, of course. I think he'll make a jump next year. But I still have no problem with them taking him number 1, especially after seeing him, getting to learn about him, seeing the way he plays, because he's had his times. He had his times where he flashes and shows you exactly what he can be. We're not looking for Trayvon Walker to be a 15, 16 sack guy and no, that's not what you're looking for. You're looking for him to dominate on that edge and set the edge. That's what you're looking for.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think his best where should he play? Inside, outside linebacker, inside with his hand down? Or where do you think, from watching what he did last season, where do you think that Jaguars ought to play him at? Or should they go out and get an edge rusher and put him as an inside lineman, an interior lineman, as opposed to standing up without his hand up and playing outside?
Well, I say go get that other rusher, of course.
Yeah.
Because then what you're able to do is you continue to let Josh Allen have his hand in the ground, being on one side or being on that edge. Go get another pass rusher to do the same thing on the other side of Josh Allen. And with Trayvon, I think you move him around. I don't think you may want him to give him the most snaps and maybe say at end, put it with his hand in the ground, maybe defensive end, give him the most snaps there, but he should have a bunch of snaps at defensive tackle.
Yeah.
I would allow him to inside pass rush. In times, he's looked unstoppable inside pass rush, especially against the Titans. Both times he played the Titans, and even though they say about the offensive line, it's not that great. Well, he dominated. No question about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you got to come up with different schemes to just to get what you can get from it. And I also agree with you that he's got to work on having whatever his primary pass rush move, but also have a secondary pass rush move. Uses his hands more and take advantage of the body that he has. He's agile. He's big. And man, when you watch some of these, you watch like what he put on there, like a Chris Jones, those guys, find a way to get to the quarterback. No matter who's blocking them or what, they find a way to get to the quarterback. The guy from the Eagles, find a way to get to the quarterback, and that's what
Hassan Reddick.
Walker got to be more of an impact player, and he's always going to have the stigma of the number 1 overall pick, man. But you got to make. I think he's got to make more plays. I think he's got to be more of an impactful player than what he was as a rookie. And it'll come. I think it's in there. I just think they got to put him in a position where he can have his most success at. And but I do agree with you that they need to move him around. I think they need to move him either side. Doesn't matter what side of the field. Let's move him around. Take advantage of his versatility and utilize him in different ways. I think that's where you're going to make the greatest impact.
Yeah, because I would add some speed stuff to his repertoire. Mm-hmm. He can, maybe have a spin move here and there, because his get off is very quick. Yeah. But, his power is what I think is what makes him special. So he can get all kind of moves. I watch Chris Jones. I don't see many guys do it, but every now and then you'll see Reggie White's old hump move. That clubbing them dudes over, man. So I think Trayvon can be that. Just like he said, you think Trayvon could be like a Chris Jones, because I think he could rush the pass from anywhere on the field. As far as
that Chris Jones
that's a beast.
He might be every bit as good as Aaron Donald in some ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I think it was the end of his second year, a few years ago. I think it was the 2018 year. That was when I think they went to the NFC Championship game that year and lost to the Patriots. That year, he ended the year having a sack in 10 straight games, breaking the record.
Yeah.
And right then and there, I was like, yeah, Chris Jones is for real. And he's the one who caught the screen pass and stiffed arm Bortles and ran to the end zone for a touchdown. I will never forget that.
Oh, yeah. But he's also the one who knocked Nick Foles out of what?
Oh, and he broke Nick Foles.
Telephone.
Yeah.
Because whoever was in front of him, I don't know, it was Linda or somebody couldn't block him. Because he would go right through where Linda at. He'd play on his outside, but come right through the hole where Linda's supposed to protect, and he came right inside on him. He broke his collarbone because he came right interior on Nick Foles.
Yep. Seemingly no resistance.
Yeah, no resistance.
Seemingly no resistance. But not only with Trayvon. So now with Josh Allen, what do you do? Because I don't know, man. I don't want to
drop him back in coverage. Let's say that first. Don't drop the man back. We both said this and we both agree. We don't want to see Josh Allen on third down. I think his strength still is getting to the quarterback as a rusher. I don't want to see the guy waste his edge rush talent by dropping back trying to be a defensive back. when he doesn't need to be you shouldn't even have him in that scheme. He is what he is. I know his sack totals or whatever, not what some people expected to be after he had that great rookie year. But man, I think you got, and that's what I'm talking about, man. You have to take advantage of what the guy can bring to you as a strength. His strength is not going and dropping back in coverage and trying to cover a tight end in the end zone. So hopefully that'll get corrected.
Hopefully.
I mean, what do you think? What do you think they're gonna do? You think they're just gonna you think they're gonna offer him, or do you think he's just gonna go with the 5th-year option? What do you think they're gonna do in this offseason relating to Josh Allen?
I was definitely the 5th-year option, and that'll give them time to figure out what they want to do. First and foremost, you do that. Go ahead and get that 5th-year option. And of course, he's going to agree to sign it, and they'll be done with that. But this year is going to be, man, I don't know, Jakari. I don't know about Ringo from Georgia. I don't know. I don't know if I've seen enough of him, but I know who I'm sure about, Jakari. And I'm gonna give you your credit. You sent him to me first. There's a couple other people that sent him to me. I like Rashee Rice, wide receiver. I think, what is it? SMU?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I like Rashee Rice. Yeah, you better believe it.
So where do you think he'll be? You think he's like a 5th-round pick? Where do you think they could draft a guy like him at?
Oh, Rashee, man, Rashee is definitely going in the first 3 rounds, no question about it. I haven't heard anything about first round, of course, but definitely within the first 3 rounds, you may be able to get him in the 2nd round, because I haven't heard anything about first round with him. Now, I have heard that Jackson Smith and Jigba, I think it was Todd McShay, say he doesn't think he's the top wide receiver in this draft, and he doesn't even think he is possibly a first round receiver in this draft. And I was like, wow. So you're gonna drop him all the way out, because before the season started, Jackson Smith and Jigba, him going first round was a certainty. Yeah. So, oh man, you want a kicker in the 6th, the Michigan kicker in the 6th round? Man, I don't know. After we drafted, was that Brian Anger right before Russell Wilson? I got PTSD about that. I don't want to draft any more special teams personnel. Let's just pick them up out of free agency.
Yeah.
Whether it's undrafted or just get a guy that's off the street. Because man, hey, go get me a guy who can contribute. Because this Michigan kicker, I haven't paid much attention to him, so I don't know how good he is. But I would say, I don't know about Ringo. I do like Rashee Rice. But as far as Josh Allen is concerned, this is a prove year for him. I don't know if I would I don't know. I definitely wouldn't pay him big money right now. I got to see more, because we do have to give Josh Allen his credit. The last 6 games that they played in, he had a sack. He had I think he had like 28 or 30 tackles, a sack in each game, 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, a touchdown, and I think 4 passes defense.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can't argue with the numbers. That he was very, very good down the stretch for this football team. So is that just a flash in the pan, or is that what he's going to be going forward?
Well, I think they should resign him.
Jawan Taylor too.
Yeah, definitely him. And Evan Ingram, Jawan Taylor. I think they should be at the top of the priority list. And the one thing I would like to see the Jaguars do, I mean, you can restructure contracts, if you need to restructure to get more upfront money, then do it. But, I think, I'm just speaking of Josh Allen's situation. I thought the one problem that they've had in the past is they wait too long to re-up on people. I thought that was the problem with Jan. And I think you should know what you're gonna get at this point. You know what kind of player he is. I know, he didn't start the season off strong, but he did finish the season strong. And then when you make statements a year ago about, you want to keep your homegrown players, the guys that you drafted, you want to try to change that tradition. And I think they got to work with him just as much as they working with Trayvon Walker. Trayvon, I think you got to bring out more of their talent. I mean, you got to add more things to the things that make them more effective. And it takes coaching. It takes, you got to find out what is the issue with him getting blocked. Is he over pursuing? You got to figure out, like, okay, we can't drop this guy back in coverage if he's one of our best guys to get to the quarterback. So you got to make decisions like that that's going to help him succeed also. And I just think at this point, man, from the success of this football team, because I've been hearing this on the radio talk around town, I mean, I think you want to keep as many of those guys that you can keep on this football team. And you want to get out and get more talent to add to what you have. I think they need to go out and get a veteran defensive edge. I mean, I think they need to get a veteran edge rusher. But I think you need to keep the guys that you know what you're going to get. At this point, you know what you're going to get from Jawan. I don't foresee Jawan Taylor going back to the season with Urban, with all the penalties. I don't think you're going to get that back from him. I think they should have a question on what do we do with Cam Robinson?
that's a question. That is a question.
Is I think Walker Little needs to be somewhere. He needs to be on the field at some point. I mean, I think it's time for him to get on the field, and who knows? Do we feel that Cam Robinson best football is still ahead? I don't see it that way. I mean, he's a guy that had, I think this was his second major knee surgery. So those, you got to make tough decisions, man. But you do have to bring back the guys. It's almost to me a no-brainer. You got to bring back Evan Ingram. You got to bring him back. You got to go. Yes. I think you need to go out and get a stronger running back. I think you got to get a guy that can run between the tackles a little more than what Snoop Connor did, a veteran guy. I think you can get that in free agency. I don't think you need to use a draft pick to get another running back if you tried that and it really didn't. Snoop Connor really didn't really make an impact. And
you know the name I've heard now that you bring that up, Ezekiel Elliott.
Well, big name, but boy, I tell you, I don't know.
I was like, I don't know about that one, dog.
I like the other Dallas running back before Ezekiel.
Tony Pollard.
Yeah, so back to Dallas, man. I looked at that play again earlier this week, man. I said to myself, now, why, out of all the decisions that you would make on that last play of the game, why would you put him at the center? What advantage do you have, Ezekiel? I mean, what advantage?
Being ineligible.
When you got a bigger linebacker that plowed him over, to sped up the play to get, for him to make the throw. He's coming one rush in the middle, in the interior. Why would you even do that? I mean, I looked at that play a couple of times this week. I said, man. I guess that's the reason why they mutually agreed to part ways, huh? With the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, I did see that Kellen Moore. But yeah, it's very interesting. Oh yeah, also I think who got hired? Of course, Demeco Ryans. We're gonna talk about Demeco Ryans and Sean Payton. But Kellen, I forgot where Kellen Moore went.
He's the Chargers OC. He went to
Chargers OC. That's where he is. Yeah, Chargers OC.
And they said he already knew he was gonna get the job, so it definitely was a mutual agreement on the departure.
Oh yeah, just like Byron. I'll be very surprised if Byron doesn't have a job by the end of this coach hiring cycle in some capacity, whether he's another OC or he's a QB coach. I think Byron should have a job. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up back in Arizona when they decide to hire whoever they're going to hire. But yeah, with this, you got to figure out what you're gonna do with Cam Robinson. Resign Evan Ingram. I would definitely bring in another back, interior offensive lineman. You got Calvin Ridley coming, but man, if any way you could find another burner or another playmaker at receiver, a young guy, you go get him. You add him to the mix. You add him to the roster. Defensively, we already said pass rusher. I think the linebacking core is there's a very young group. I think they're going to continue to grow. But DBs, I think your safety position is fine for now. No question about that. But corner, you need another corner. Darius Williams ended the season on a very good note, playing very, very good football. Tyson Campbell is your guy on the other side, but you need another car. You need another guy. You need another corner. Yeah. Trey Herndon and Shaquille Griffin got to go.
Yeah, you got to get rid of them. And then they probably solid on the outside corners, but they definitely got to shore up the inside corner. But you got to get a nickel that can play. You got to get a nickel that's physical, can stop the run, cover those inside routes with the slot receiver. So they definitely should be in the market to upgrade that secondary with either you go out and get a proven nickel. Don't get one in the draft. Get one who's got a reputation of being physical and can cover. And I don't think you need to go out and get. I think Tyson Campbell is fine. I don't have a problem with Darius Williams on the other side, but I think they solid. But you definitely need to get. I just think you need to really, maybe even get 2 cornerbacks. Just upgrade that position. You can't, what they say, you can never have too many cornerbacks. So guys,
go get go get you another DJ Hayden. DJ Hayden was excellent at nickel for this football team.
Yeah.
So go get you another DJ Hayden. So I think that's about it as far as the offseason moves. Now I'm wondering what are they going to do at wide receiver coach, because their wide receiver coach, he's gone, and he's I think they took the same position with the University of Texas, the Longhorns. So they're talking about that. I'm seeing some people petitioning, hey, go ahead and bring Keenan McCardell back.
Yeah.
I've seen that. Hey, if he's available, I would say, definitely go get him. I'll bring him back. No question.
Look at what Minnesota did. He coaches one of the top receivers in the league.
Yeah, so if he is available for whatever reason, go get him for sure. So, man, we're gonna leave. Any last words about the Jags before we?
No, I just think you have to make it a productive all season. Do the moves you need to make. Don't leave talent outside of your building when you need the talent. Like Jawan Taylor, I don't think he's going to regress anymore. I think he's here to stay, and I think you don't let the market dictate your offer. You go out and say, I need to have this guy on my team. Be aggressive, and bring them in. And then if you need to restructure some contracts where you paying some signing bonuses up front or whatever you need to do to restructure to get more cap on this, more cap room, I think you do it. I think you really got to think about from here going out that the players that impact you to help you get to where you got to this season, I think their resume says it all. You need to have them back. You need to bring them back. You don't want somebody else getting them. Because one thing I do know in this league, those teams in your division that they did a great job against, they'll do anything means necessary to sign or grab some of your talent off your roster and put on their roster, because they got to play you twice during the season. So you don't want Evan Ingram going to Houston. And I say this about the Texans, and I know they done, this coaching situation in Houston has been, I don't even know the word, horrible, to put it that way.
Yeah.
You got a young guy, a young black head coach that you hired. Give him the tools to be successful. That's what I'm asking the owner of the Texans. Give the guy the tools to be successful. Don't close the book if they win 4 games next season and you didn't supply them with the tools to be successful, because this is a makeover. This ain't a rebuild. I mean, it's a makeover that they got an influx of everything. Change. He's got to come in, change the culture. Got to change this. Got to change that. And this is not a 1-year job.
No, it's not a 1-year job. And it's not a 1-year job. And who you speaking of is Demeco Ryans, of course. He was one of our topics, so we talked about him. But yeah, Texans hired him, the 49ers defensive coordinator, and Demeco has he shot up the coaching ranks over the last couple of years with the work he's done as that defensive coordinator. That masterpiece he put together against Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay in the snow. I still marvel at that and the way they played that game. I think he's incredibly bright young guy, and I think he's going to be successful there if they get quarterback correct, because he shows that he can build a defense. So go ahead, get him Bryce Young, get him one of these top guys, whoever, CJ Stroud, whoever it is, whoever falls to you. Go ahead, get your quarterback right. Because as you say, I don't know what that was the last 2 years by the Texans with David Culley and Lovie Smith. And it kind of makes me think that they did, those guys are just bridge guys. And maybe that they had handshake deals saying that, hey, we just want you here for this year or whatever. We just need somebody to fill in the gap or so. Because you meaning to tell me you hired 2 guys and you didn't like either one of them after you hired them and had planned to keep them around for a long period of time? I don't think so. You could sell that to somebody else.
Yeah. But they got to understand, man, they're at the bottom of the league, basically. Bottom of the division. And teams that's ahead of you, well, they're not dropping down. They're going up. Like the Jaguars is not dropping down to your level. The Jaguars are reloading and putting more pieces in. It's going to be that much tougher for you to have any way of trying to beat them. And I just think you got to give this man, you're going to sign him a 3-year contract, give him 4 years to turn the program around. Because I think when you change coaches 1 year next, the 1 year next, man, you're going to be in last place for a long time. You gotta put a foundation in. They got to build up from the ground up, and they start with allowing the coach to have a foundation. I just don't want to see this cycle where another black head coach go to Houston. They have a horrible season, went to 3-win, 4-win season, and then this guy pulled the plug and said it didn't work out. I don't want to see that no more in Houston, man. So give the man a chance to turn your program around, give him the pieces to build, spend the money, build from the defense to the offense, go get out and get a draft quarterback, make the right decisions in the draft and free agency, and just give the guy a chance to be a winning coach. Even though he in the same division as our team, I want this guy to be successful, because I think he has a great relationship you can see his relationship with the players. He's jumping around, he's dancing on the sideline, and every one of those defensive players respond to him even from what the little bit we see from the television camera, that this guy is a great coach. He's got a great relationship with players, and they play hard for him. And he can do the same thing what he did in San Francisco, he can do in Houston if they allow him to have that opportunity for the long term.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wish him much success. Except twice a year. Twice a year. I hope he's absolutely terrible, and a third time if it comes down to it in the playoffs. As long as when they play in the Jaguars that he does terrible, I'm fine with that.
Yes, sir.
But yeah. So but
no shame in my game. I express the love for the hometown team in my
Oh yeah. Absolutely. So one other coach got hired today. Well, not hired, but he got traded for. The Broncos traded for Coach Sean Payton from the New Orleans Saints. They agreed to the trade earlier today. And they will receive the Broncos' first round pick, number 29 overall, and the 2024 second round pick for Payton, and the Saints' 2024 third round selection. Okay, so that's that's fair compensation, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Say the Broncos are expected to make Payton one of the highest paid coaches in the league. This was the opportunity I was looking for, Payton told Noya.com on Tuesday. He said it's a great fan base, great tradition. He added the ownership group is fantastic. I love the way they compete in some of the games last year. It's a good football city that we had in New Orleans. So because Payton had signed an extension with the Saints in 2019 that was set to run through 2024 season, the Saints and the Broncos had to negotiate compensation for Denver to sign him as its head coach. See, the Broncos had traded their first-round pick to the Seattle Seahawks in last year's blockbuster deal to acquire Russell Wilson, but then acquired a first-round pick from the Dolphins in the trade that sent Bradley Chubb to Miami in November. That pick originally belonged to San Francisco 49ers, then sent it to Miami in the trade that allowed them to pick Trey Lance in the 2021 draft. So I think that this is an excellent move for the Broncos. I think this is the right coach. I think this is the right coach. Now, whether Russell Wilson is the right guy or not, I don't know. But I know that Sean Payton is the right coach. Sean Payton is a Super Bowl winning coach. He's one of the better coaches in this league. No doubt about that. You got the right guy to lead. Now, Russell Wilson, who knows? I don't know what you're going to get. I will say this. If the Broncos have a Jacksonville type turnaround next year, then everybody's going to be looking at Nathaniel Hackett like they're looking at Urban Meyer right now, who, by the way, did an interview about the Jaguars season, and they said it went as just like you would imagine it went, with him taking no accountability, and they say it's incredibly weird. And but I haven't checked it out yet, so I'm gonna check it out. And I'm gonna check it out, and I'm depending on what I read from it, I may do a short video on it and post it on my page. But man, Urban, who's asking Urban Meyer questions? Please stop asking him questions about the Jaguars.
Yeah, that's CBS. CBS, please stop.
Please stop. But
the guy was the worst coach to coach Jacksonville in his history. Stop making him be the authoritative on the NFL. He might be the authoritative on college football, but let's just put it in the bag. Nothing he says is of consequence. And stop trying to make him into being an NFL expert when he couldn't even coach or remember names of his own players.
Yeah.
That's the sad part. He couldn't even remember his own starting players. And now he's an expert.
He couldn't remember Aaron Donald's name, which is amazing.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, but this deal here with the Broncos, I think, as I agree with you, I think they did their due diligence. I think they took their time. I think they huddled up among this ownership group and say, look, we cannot have a head coach here with any previous head coaching experience. We got to get the best guy available, and we got to pay him money. We got to pay. We got to give up. We got to give up something to get something. So to get a guy like Sean Payton to get stability into the coaching, you got to give up a first round pick. You got to pay this guy, make him be one of the highest paid coaches in the league. But they did it. It's been an embarrassment for the Broncos this year. It was an embarrassment for the Broncos the previous season, and it was an embarrassment the season before then. And you're talking about a city that loves its football team, and you have to make good decisions, not always based on how much money we spent. When you got a Russell Wilson, he had, let's be honest, he had he had the worst season of his career this past season. So here's the doctor to come in to fix all those problems. This guy's a veteran coach. He's going to ask for some he's going to control the narrative. But I think they got the right guy to turn the ship around there in Denver. And I think that's the best available guy that they could have got to hire as a coach to turn that situation around after hiring the worst. And who knows? They might have a situation like the Jacksonville, go from whatever they finished to playing in the playoffs, being competitive, knocking on the door of maybe making it to the divisional round, hell, maybe make it to the Super Bowl. I don't know. But they made the right move with Sean Payton.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Yeah, definitely made the right move. So we will see how that pans out for them. Yeah, because Nathaniel Hackett has to be their worst head coach probably in their history. It was amazing watching him this season. And for Denver, I think they didn't have a losing season for it was decades. I think they hadn't had a losing season, and they lost 5 straight years.
Yeah.
They had losing seasons for 5 straight years after never having a losing season in decades, man. So I understand their frustration as well.
But you know what? Believe it or not, as bad as Hackett was this year for Denver, he got a new job as an offensive coordinator.
yeah, he did.
He does something with the Jets. With the Jets, I believe. The Jets new offensive coordinator. As bad as that season was, he's got a new job. Only in the NFL.
Only in the NFL can you be as bad as Nathaniel Hackett was. I mean, awful at times where he lacked time management skills.
Yeah.
They clock management was, horrible.
Yeah.
I know there's some veteran coaches out there. From time to time, Andy Reid and clock management is, I don't know, I've seen it from time to time. I'll be like, man, Andy Reid, what are you doing? But that's to be expected every now and again. But I mean, Nathaniel Hackett, it seemed like a game by game thing.
Yeah.
And how I knew it was always the issue, because I wouldn't even be watching the Broncos game, but I follow Shannon Sharp, and Shannon Sharp constantly talked about his time management. He was awful at it. He was terrible. One of the worst. So,
but he got a new job. But I'll tell you what, only in America.
Only.
I think he should be coaching at Hillside High in New York, not coaching the Jets. I think he should be a high school coach or something, because that was horrible, man. You talk about the Jags, man. This guy had 12 men on the field. Don't know how to do situational football, running the ball when passing the ball on the goal line when he should have just handed it off. Not getting Russell Wilson ingrained with the offense.
Scapegoating Melvin Gordon. They scapegoated Melvin Gordon. He wasn't a problem.
One hit after the next, man. He was the Urban of this year. He wins the Urban Award.
Only thing he didn't have was off the field issues. That's the only thing he didn't have.
And he was smart enough to have his boom boom room without cameras.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, man, we're gonna leave that right there. We pretty much. We hour 4. So, man, we about to wrap it up. We're gonna get on up out of here. So on the way out, I will mention that they're currently playing right now. New York Knicks versus the LA Lakers. I know going into this game, LeBron James is 107 from the bar, of course, and I'm sure he's even closer there at halftime right now. We're not at halftime. But Kareem supposedly spoke on LeBron James passing him, and I like what he said. His statement, he kept it professional. And that's all you can ask. He said, I've been carrying the torch as a record holder for 38 years. I'm excited and relieved to pass it along to the next worthy recipient. LeBron earned it, and I hope he carries it even longer than I did. I like that. I think that is very good by Kareem, recognizing LeBron James. Now, I know there's not going to be any bro hugs anytime soon, but I think that's a step in the right direction.
Oh yeah. Well, he's not reminiscent of all comparing, eras of players. And I just think you have to just, it is what, give the man the credit, because that's no easy task to score that many. What is 36? What is the total? 36,000 and some points.
Yeah.
That's longevity. That's just talent. There's a whole lot of things going in that box to score that many points over the course of his career. But another thing, Brandon, I saw a sighting of AD back.
I was gonna bring that up. I saw him back, and man, what's the kid's name? I don't want to butcher his name, but is it Hachimura? Is that his name?
Hachimura.
Yeah. I see him, and man, it looked like they got some new life. They're playing really good basketball. I think they got robbed against Boston. Even though LeBron did ham it up a little bit, and he was on the soap opera, he was on the reality show with a bad script. The way he reacted, but of course that was a foul the other night. Of course, some people criticize him for the way he reacted, but I like Shannon Sharp. Chandler Parsons criticized LeBron. He said, I wouldn't act like that if my French Bulldog got hit by a mail truck. And Shannon Sharp was like, well, you were never committed to winning like LeBron was, Chandler, so you'll never understand that. Hey, and so Skip say Chandler Parsons has made $27 million over his career. And Shannon go, yeah, but he got $12 million game. So he got
yeah, man.
Yeah,
gotta start watching Shannon Sharp, boy. He telling them like it is.
He catches criticism because what he does. I just want him to be himself because he'll straddle the fence sometimes, and it'll get him in trouble. You'll be over here sometimes, you'll be over there sometimes, you've been in the middle sometimes. Now just be yourself. Don't placate and kowtow. Just be yourself. But yeah. So LeBron. He's, I think he had 9 points at halftime. So before you know, he'll be passing Kareem. Oh, and he's projected to pass Kareem in the game against Oklahoma City at Oklahoma City. The tickets for that game right now is selling for $75,000.
$75,000 in Oklahoma City?
Yes.
Oh Lord.
Yes. $75,000. I mean, you're witnessing history. You're witnessing something that in your lifetime you may not ever see get broken again. You may not see it.
Don't let it be. Boy, I had the worst 2 years of my NBA writing career in Oklahoma City. It might take $75,000 just for you to go visit that city.
Right.
Well, bravo to him, man. But you know what, man? Not underplay anything, though. That's a magical moment for him to break that record. So,
Yeah.
If it worth $75,000 to see it, I can't afford that. But a magical moment for him. I say this, man, before we close, man. No matter what, boy. Sometimes I watch LeBron, and I remember the LeBron in Cleveland, man. I sometimes wonder, are we gonna appreciate just what this man brought to the game? For him to be out there beating guys down there, you talk about the play, beating guys to the lane to make the shot. It's just amazing. And I know we all talk Jordan and things, but when you see this man get older as he get, the smarter he plays, he still got athleticism. He's still big as heck. And just to see the grace and the way that he moves around the court, man, this is a blessing that, boy, we're going to miss this when this guy actually retires, man, because he's one of a kind. And I think you appreciate him now. What, he's 36 years old. You appreciate 38. I appreciate 38 years old. I appreciate him now, right now, probably more than I did when he was scoring all those points for Cleveland in his early days.
Yeah.
Because what he's doing, it's that much harder to be an impact player at his age, taking the physical toll. And I don't see this guy not playing on back-to-back nights like the Golden State Warrior players.
LeBron, athletic, genetic freak, no doubt about it. Dude, he blew past Brogdon because I watched the play.
Mm-hmm.
Blew past him like he had cinder blocks for feet. I mean, I was like, dude, he's 38.
Yeah.
He's 38. He's 38 and still nobody can stop him from getting to the rim.
Yeah, he still can beat you off the dribble at 38 years old.
Yeah.
Through the basket.
Yeah. No question about it. No question about it, man. So, yeah, I don't think they're I mean, he came up in the social media age, so you know, I would argue most scrutinized athlete in the history of sports.
Even when he came into the game. I mean, what guy come into the game straight from high school and live up to the expectations?
Exceeded. Yeah. Hey, Doc Rivers said it. He said, go back and look at what LeBron was projected to be, and he's better in every facet that of his game. He's actually better than he was projected to be. And he was projected to be one of the greatest of all time, and he's even better than that.
Better than what they do. You go find me another athlete that lives up to all that and still producing. Man, still producing. Still, I say this, man. I was looking at the Lakers the other night, and I say, boy, I look at AD. I don't see AD as an elite player anymore. He just he's good, but he's not an elite player. I see LeBron, and this guy woosing. I mean, he's like out. He's beating guys off the dribble at 38. He's still great. Hadn't lost a step, and he's 38 years old. The only thing he's lost is some hair.
That's it. That's it. So that is it, man. But we are going to leave it right there. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on all my social medias. Follow Mr. Reed on Twitter, of course. We will be back with more live streams, and we will be back Monday. We will be back 7:30, 7:45. I'll set it so you guys know. I appreciate you once again. And hey, we are out of here.
Peace out, folks.
Peace out, y'all.